वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकारेषु सर्वदा। ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। ओम भगवते श्री स्वामी नारायणाय नमः। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते रुद्राय। ओम नमः शिवाय। ओम सर्वमंगलमांगल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यंबके गौरी नारायणी नमोस्तुते। श्री गुरु स्तोत्रम। ओम अखंडमंगलाकारं व्याप्तमेन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। Om. Welcome to Daily Satsang. We are continuing our contemplation on the extraordinary charitras that are shown in the various Puranas and other Hindu scriptures, Sanatana Dharma scriptures that are of from ancient times, where Bhagwan Vedvyas Ji has dictated them in the Sanskrit language in the form of 18 Puranas. Along those lines, we are contemplating our daily satsang on various topics, and we are examining the form of Bhagwan Shiv particularly, and the Guru Tattva connected with that. So the part of the verse that is Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, we are expanding upon that to some extent, of course, and particularly to examine a bit further the glory of Bhagwan Shankar holding this bowl of poison. So continuing from yesterday I had talked about the act of holding the poison. So there are 4 stages here. There is the act of holding the poison. Then there is the actual placing the poison in the mouth. And then there is the act of swallowing to some extent, and then the act of holding in the neck. And then also the great goddess holds the neck of Bhagwan Shiv for further protection. So there is a form of the goddess actually, and I'll show you what that is. It's actually called, let me see here, there's a name here. It's here. It's called Vishwakantha. That is the name of the Shiva actually, but let me see. Okay, with both hands, thus earning the name Vishwakantha. There's a name of the goddess that actually has that. I thought I had it here somewhere. Anyway, I'll have to look it up and see. But this is a very profound and very significant charitra. See, the incarnations of God, the stories in the Puranas, the existence of our life in the human form, these are all connected together. Because each charitra of the incarnations in human form, or like what Bhagwan Shiv, this is not in the human form, in some divine transcendental state, these things have happened about the churning of the ocean and then the poison coming out and Bhagwan Shiv and Kailash drinking, whatever that may be. Some people say it is some mythological thing and all, but it may not be completely mythological. It's probably metaphysical, and then whatever the metaphysics of it may be, it is very applicable in our life. Everything is for us only. This point should be clear. Every scripture, every form of the different deities, every mantra, everything that has been constructed or given in the Sanatana Dharma is for every human being to realize the Atma and the Paramatma. That's its purpose. So along those lines, there are 4 stages in terms of understanding the glory of Bhagwan Shiv drinking this poison. Yesterday we were talking about just holding the poison, what that means. And today I want to go a bit further and see if I can, hold on one second here, and see if I can go into what it means to drink the poison. See, in our life, we come across innumerable circumstances and situations that we do not like. But not liking a situation, circumstance, some object, sense object is one thing. But that situation, circumstance, object, person becoming poisonous for us is another thing. For example, if I take a gulab jam and I like it very much and it's nice and fresh and bahut acha hai with enough sugar and all the sauce and everything, this is beautiful. But if it's a spoiled gulab jam, if it's been spoiled, it's you can smell, you don't even want to put inside, will not want to put inside your mouth. And by mistake, if you put it, you'll spit it out. That is something which is spoiled and all, and something which we don't like. Even if it's not spoiled, if you don't like the gulab jam, you say, I'm sure it's made well, but I don't want to eat it right now. I don't like it. That feeling comes. But now go further. What if there is a liquid that doesn't have any taste, but it is poison? You drink it, you die. Obviously, we cannot take that. But that's the fact of life, that there are these different situations and circumstances that range from what we like to what we don't like, to the dislikes, and then to those that are poisonous situations that are aimed for destruction. That do happen. Not in everybody's life, but they happen in many people's lives under different circumstances. That there is a destructive force that's come out, a poisonous force that's come out. People have killed each other over some food item, even in the homes. There's incidences in India and in this world, in this country also, domestic violence and all that. Because some food item was not made the right way, the husband has killed the wife. This has happened also. There are many documented incidences of this type. This is poison. The rage, the violence, the 7,000 human wars, it's all poison. Humanity hurting each other, all poison that has come out. So Bhagwan Shankar, in the word Shankar means one who is giving happiness, Ananda. He puts the poison in the mouth. See the charitra. What does it mean for us? There are circumstances and times where the poison is going to be in our mouth. Meaning what? Something destructive is going on. And you have to hold it within you. You're going to begin to, when you put it's going to be painful. It's going to start a certain reaction. You have to know how to deal with that reaction. For example, if a family conflict is going on, or some other situation, some other difficulty is going on in life that is of destructive nature, one has to have the intelligence in how to navigate through that difficulty by taking care of that difficulty, not simply escaping from it, not simply shunning it, not simply suppressing it, not just getting overwhelmed and destroying yourself. One has to be able to hold it ultimately in the neck. That's what Shiva is saying. And then transform it. That's the fourth stage. So just right now I just want to talk about what it feels like. But the feeling is terrible. Human feelings, in our system, we wind up getting hurt so many times. because of circumstance outside, because of some people around us, because of professional problems, or because of some internal vasanas and desires, we are hurt. Humanity is tormented again and again and again in two ways, externally and internally. And that poison keeps coming up. That poison doesn't seem to go away. And we see that again and again. We see the same cycles repeating again and again and again. And that is because we do not even know how to stop generating that poison that is damaging all of us. But when it comes out, yes, you've got to deal with it. You've got to put it in the sense that you don't have a choice. Some terrible situation comes about. You're in that. What are you going to do? So that's putting the poison in the mouth. When you put meaning what? It's poison. It's not just stuff that you don't like. Bhagwan Shiv puts it in the mouth with tremendous composure. Sthita pragnata. He doesn't get disturbed. He doesn't get agitated. He doesn't spit it out and throw it on 100 other people. He doesn't get internally worked up because of it. He's untouched. Even though he knows what it is, he can taste what it is, but he's not going to allow it to destroy anybody else. Yehi Sant ki sthiti hai. Sant means what? Saintliness is what after all? An example of Mother Teresa, we know that. Look at her life. She drank this poison again and again, but by the grace of God was constantly bubbling with compassion and joy. So many states in Swaminarayan Sampradaya, there was a Yogiji Maharaj and gurus that are present, different gurus. These are some people that I know that I'm just giving reference. They keep transforming. Every saint, Ramakrishna Paramahans, whoever it is, some names we're giving. Most of the enlightened saints, we don't even know their names. They're not known to the public. And that is the glory of Shiva. That the opening of the third eye and putting the poison in the mouth are very much together. In our life circumstances, so many things have happened, continue to happen, and will happen that have that poisonous aspect, which is destructive, potentially devastating, potentially destructive, potentially damaging. And it can happen in so many ways. It's really something. Sometimes you are in a group of friends. I'll give you some very simple, practical analogies here. Let's say you have a friend circle. Let's say there's 5 families that are together for 20 years. Lots of good feelings and this and that, so many things. But somebody starts some rumor, something or other, starts creating trouble somewhere because they're suffering. So, this is what happens when we suffer. When somebody suffers, that person wants to add to the suffering by causing suffering in others. This is the human tragedy, actually. I don't know how else to put it. When an individual suffers, there's that expression, misery loves company. So that one poisonous thing, it is then spread to others. And I've seen this actually, this is not theoretical, I've seen it happen many times with so many groups of friends and families also. One thing, somebody starts even the smallest, taking fault with somebody, doing something, and then that thing spreads. It begins to spread, and a 20-year relationship with close friends can be obliterated within 5 to 10 minutes. I've seen it actually. This is not theoretical. This is the poison. This is because whoever heard those words from others did not know how to keep it inside and leave it alone. And the one who was speaking it out is suffering from inside. That's why they're speaking it out. Small things built up. This happens in social circles and family. It happens in work environments almost all the time. Because there's a hierarchy. So many things are there. There's a boss, there's this, there's expectations, then there's racism, then there's the pay differentials, and all this mess is there inside the sansar. And as a result of that, humanity is poisoned over and over and over again because of their unending conflicts and the suffering. That's why there are so many mental health problems. Maximum medications are given in psychiatry. My brother is a pharmacist. He tells me 70-80% of all the medications are psych meds. More than the physical health problems that are prescribed, that are dispensed. Why is that? There's so much internal pain and suffering that humanity has caused to itself. Bhagwan Shankar is teaching us with tremendous grace. What more krupa can anybody have? He's saying, I'm ready to take the poison. Nobody else was ready. That is the glory of the enlightened sages. Enlightened sages are those, this is their enlightenment. It's not enlightened sages are sitting on some big pedestals, bade asan par baithe, or giving big pravachans and having thousands of people run after them and give them garlands and start singing their bhajans. And that is not any form, that has nothing to do with enlightenment at all, zero. If anybody is thinking that is a big mistake. And if anybody wants to be in that situation, to be other people's guru and all that, that's not any kind of guru. That is in fact completely antithetical to the idea of a guru. To want to become somebody's guru, if that desire comes up, that means that person is not guru. One who is real guru doesn't even say that I am the guru. Never even says that. Never even thinks that actually. That thought doesn't even come that I am somebody's guru. And when that thought doesn't come that I am somebody's guru, hence Guru Devo Maheshwara, that is the guru. Because it's like the sun that is just shining. The sun is not saying, I am shining for all of you. There's only the shining of the light, divine light, that's all. Divya Prakash. And that's the whole point. Bhagwan Shiv takes the poison that comes out from this churning, and he's the Mahadev. He puts it in the mouth. Do you not think that there is the most horrific taste of that poison? How terrible it is. Look in our own lives. Somebody says one word to us. Ek hi shabd koi bolta hai, which we don't like. What do we feel inside our system? Hamare mein kya hota hai? We feel angry, we feel growth, we feel this, we want to say something right away. There's so much of a reaction that is going on. That reaction, just because somebody said one small negative thing to me, Sachin did this, Sachin said this, something there, and I am reactive all of a sudden. All of a sudden the poison shows up from inside of me. Bhagwan Shiva is taking other people's poison. He doesn't generate poison himself. We generate the poison. Hence, what he's saying, if you are generating the poison, you know what the teaching is there? Take it out and put it inside the bowl. That's not me. In Bhagwan Swaminarayan's Vedras scripture, the first thing he has stated to the Paramahansas there, he says that the different Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moha, these doshas that come up, you are the witness. Who eno drashta achu, I am the witnessing consciousness of all of this. Bring it out of your system. Buddha said the same thing. Bhagavad Gita says the same thing. Every great saint says the same thing. That do not identify with the poisonous reaction that is going on. Bring it out and hold it in your and bring it out and see it, observe it, choiceless awareness. And then put it back in your mouth. Now this is interesting. Put it back in your mouth, come back to it again, and transform the reaction into Amrit. Wow. Who can do that? Who knows how to do that? Come on. That is Adhyatma. That is Sanatana Dharma. That is being human. That is being a true human being. That is a divinity that is erupting. That is the Guru Tattva inside of us. Guru Devo Maheshwara. Gurus are on the outside. The gurus on the outside are just the beginning, folks. This internal game that is being played with energy, that is the real Guru. The ability to recognize the internally generated reaction and to recognize it as poisonous for oneself and for others, that Gyan is the opening of the third eye, and that is Bhakti. In Shikshapatri, Sahajanand Swami Maharaj has said the definition of Bhakti is tremendous love for God with Mahima, with glory. Sneho Bhaktischa Madhave. When devotion erupts from within, the power within us transmutes, and it will prevent the poisonous reaction from erupting. That is the power of Bhakti. That is why in the third eye location, in Shikshapatri, Maharaj has written there that the kumkum that is placed here in the middle of the forehead, it is to be offered to Lakshmi ji and Radhika ji. And then from there, Prasadi is a Gujarati word, that means that their divine touch. And we offer that. Isn't it true in the Lakshmi temples and all that? We offer the kumkum is there all the time. So that the deity can touch the kumkum and then we take it and put on our forehead. Why? What is the purpose behind all of those kumkum and koti kumkum archanas and all those things that are going on in all that? What is all of that thing? That is so that the devotional power awakens from within. And when devotional power awakens from within, the power of bhakti is so intense that it will prevent the poisonous reaction from the system from even starting. But if it does start, bhakti power is so much, by the grace of the Paramatma, the poison comes up right away. You can see it right away. That's why in Vachanamrutam, the very first Vachanamrut, Sahajanand Swami Maharaj, he said, he defined what is Maya. He said, in Gujarati, he said, Bhagwan nu dhyan karta adu avine avran kare ene Maya kahiye. Meaning that when you are contemplating on God, meditating on God, connecting with Paramatma, whatever obstruction comes, that is Maya. And that obstruction, one gets the intelligence to recognize the obstruction. You see the obstruction. Oh. And immediately, because of awakened intelligence and awakened realization, one doesn't identify with that obstruction, leaves it alone. And in leaving it alone, it goes away naturally. So that's the point, that yes, you do taste the difficulty that comes out. But the power of bhakti is such that it destroys that poison right away. Somebody on the outside is giving us, making some negative statements, comments, whatever. It doesn't touch anybody inside. I mean, simple things like being stuck in a traffic jam. Our day-to-day routine is interrupted somehow. Small things, they disturb us so much. And then the bigger things can happen, which are more difficult to handle. Somebody passes away in the family. Something like that happens. Something that we want badly doesn't happen. That's one of the biggest poisons in life. हमारी अंतःकरण में जो इच्छा होती है, it doesn't get fulfilled. Oh, I'm sad, I'm tormented, I'm this, I'm that. Angry, upset. All of this is there. Not to mention the difficulties that come from the nature. Tornadoes, hurricanes, Adi Bhautika, Adi Daivik, Adhyatmika. These are called Tran Tap in Gujarati language. And everybody is stuck inside that. So there are this constant battle is going on even with nature. That's why we have technology that's developed. We have air conditioners in the house, and we have heaters in the house, and we have roofs, and we have this and that. Because we are wanting to protect ourselves from the onslaught of nature. Yes, we want to respect nature. Of course, we want to integrate with nature, but we also have to protect ourselves from the forces of nature too. So all of that is part of this living in this material world, and that's where the human intelligence has progressed to such a level where we are now masters of the material world to the large extent. I mean, masters in the sense we control the human beings control the material world and all the species. Right? So there's that aspect also. But in doing so, human ego comes and winds up destroying so much. And in that destruction is destroying himself only. So not generating the poison is the biggest truth. But when it does come about, when you're putting the poison, when you're putting something you don't like in your mouth, you cannot even stand it for a second. Poison? My God, how terrible! Halal, it is called vish, halal vish. And in that state, Bhagwan Shiva is incredibly steady. Tremendous sthirta, man ki sthirta. Yahi nahi hoti. And it's the extreme example. It's one thing, in day-to-day small things we can probably remain steady, maybe, if even that. But when destructive, very difficult situations come about, one has to be so internally strong. So much strength is required from within. And that strength is called bal. In Gujarati language, it's called baliyo bhakta. One who has got tremendous strength from within to handle what may, because of the great faith in Paramatma, great faith, Shraddha, Ashray, holding on to the feet of the Lord. That tremendous faith is there, tremendous latching on is there. And because of that, the power increases from within, and you are able to handle whatever may come. Come what may, this too shall pass. And the experience is so much against what we want. I mean, the terrible thing to hold, to go through that, and then to hold it in the neck. I'll talk about that tomorrow. There's 2 more steps. That is a swallowing step, and then there's the holding step. There's 2 more. We'll spend 2 more days on this. But just right now, when Shiva's putting the poison in the mouth, don't you think he's tasting it? If you look at it from our level, at least, how terrible must be that? Sometimes poisons don't have taste; they just interact. But assume for a moment that it has the most horrific taste. This happens to us, right? We go somewhere and some smell is there, and we say, "Oh, this is the most terrible smell. I want nothing to do with this." It happens, right? Or you see something that is so, for example, even if you go through really dilapidated, impoverished neighborhoods, or you see the images on TV, but even if you go to Philadelphia many times, or even in the Wilmington, there are some areas that are so poor and so run down, and you just feel like what humanity has come to, and you don't want to stay there, and you get fear and afraid and all this. That what is this? We cannot stand that even. We don't like that even. We can, but to be able to be with all of that, this is one of the greatest things about Bhagwan Shiv. He doesn't reject any experience. And he's the only one that doesn't reject any experience. He says everybody's mine. And all experiences are mine. That's the more interesting part. Including this holding of this poison. All experiences of life are his. So I'm with everyone. Everybody can come to me. everybody can resonate with me, because he doesn't judge anybody. He doesn't criticize anybody. He doesn't see the fault of anybody. He doesn't try to impose himself on anybody. He is the greatest of devotees, bhakta. And for those who believe he's the Lord, he's the greatest of the Lord. For those who are Shiv bhakta. He doesn't have any sense that nobody is his. Everybody is his. Every living being is his. What a state of realization and consciousness. This is the progression for us to make, that whatever is going on, what the poisons of the world are endless. There's no end to the problems and the difficulties in the world. But the liberated being who is in Shiva consciousness, Guru Devo Maheshwara, that being is holding the whole world within, and particularly all the poisons of the world within. But more than that, even, is tasting them, is aware. It means what? When you put the poison in the mouth, and Shiva is putting it deliberately. It's in our situation, we are generating it from inside, and others are generating it for us here, we're shoving it down our throat. That's a different matter. He is deliberately putting it. We are deliberately creating it, and others who have created are shoving it down our throat. That is the Jiva. And the Shiva is one who is deliberately putting it for the benefit of the others. See the massive difference between the two. It's tremendous. जमीन आसमान का फर्क है इसमें. एक चरित्र, हमारे जो सनातन धर्म में जो चरित्र है, ये सब अवतारों के, भगवान के, संत के, incredible. इसका कोई comparison नहीं. There's no comparison with anything compared to that. Because it is liberation, it is Jivan Mukti. Adbhut baat hai sab. It is so tremendous. There is no end to all this. As Sachin is talking here, even though Sachin is speaking all this thing, this is only a tiny little attempt as a seva at the feet of the Lord so that we can get blessings. This is very beyond. We can't imagine these things. Can you imagine going into this sansar, going into the poorest of places or into the richest of neighborhoods? Like here in Delaware, we have this Greenville. It's a high level, multi-million dollar homes. And then we have the people living in the housing, the substandard housing, almost governmental housing. Extremely poor people. Go into both places and bless everyone and see them with the same vision. Is that possible? What is that vision I want to see? What in the world is that vision? Can we have the same love, affection, compassion for both extremes? And bless everyone so that everyone can progress? See what the Veda teaches, let good thoughts come from all sides. What Shikshapatri says, Sarva Jiva Hitavaha, what the great sages have said, that they are constantly flowing with divine power, divine compassion. They're doing two things. As I mentioned yesterday from the Vachanamrut, like the Vardhana Ragni, they're always doing two things. They're taking the poison of the sansar and giving Amrit continuously 24 hours a day. That is their only activity. And they don't have to be sitting in temples and wearing orange clothes and have all these people following them. Yeah, maybe that's there. That's okay. It could be the most ordinary person in the ordinary life being in such a state of consciousness. It could be a doctor. It could be an engineer. It could be a lawyer. It could be a business person. It could be anybody. It could be a student. It could be a child. It can be a man. It can be a woman. It can be anybody from the LBGTQ community, QI community. It can be anybody. There's no stamp. You know the beauty of all of this thing. Nowhere in the scriptures of the Sanatana Dharma has anybody said that somebody's going to give you a stamp on your forehead saying that, look, you're there. You're enlightened, you're this, you're that. Jo khojega, wo paega. If you want to realize this, you know what the barometer is of this realization? Akhanda Ananda, Divya Ananda. Now somebody says, well, how do you prove that? You cannot prove that. You are in it. There's no proof. The proof is others will see that this being is resonating in pure joy. What is the proof that the sun is shining? If you're blind, you say, show me the proof that it's shining. I said, you cannot be convinced. It doesn't matter if you're convinced or not. You have to open if your eyes are closed, you say, I don't see the sun. That's your problem. Open your eyes and see the sun yourself. You don't know how to open the eyes, and that's the whole point. Divyam dadamite chakshu. Open the divine eyes from inside. And that technology of opening the divine eyes from inside is the technology of the Sanatana Dharma, is the presence of the great sages on earth. People, enlightened sages are there. People see that they're doing something great. There's something, so people start running after them. If you want to run after them, run after what their state of realization is. We glorify Mother Teresa, Ramakrishna Paramahansa, Sajanand Swami, Muktanand Swami, Aurobindo. We glorify all these fantastic people, Jesus and all that. How many people are ready to say, we want that state? Who has that courage to even think that way? It's very, very nice to worship. It's convenient to worship. It is a different matter to go beyond worship into that state actually. And that is what Shiva is saying. If you want to go into that state, these poisons are going to come up. And in this Charitra particularly, he is deliberately putting the poison in the mouth. Who is going to do that? Only an enlightened being. Nobody else can even think of doing that. Not now, not ever. Wow. ऐसी अद्भुत बात है. Let's stop here. We'll continue with the two more parts on this halal poison part. Then we will move on from there.